to the Wednesdays with Jenna. I'm Jenna. I'm an agent like you. I've been a top producer nationally for pretty much 10 years running. And I am extremely passionate about helping agents go from owning a job to owning a business. And I have done things right, but honestly, I only learned how to do things right by doing them wrong first. I could have been a top producer way sooner. I always had issues until I became an entrepreneur and until I learned that there was a better way. I had so much issue asking for help when I was first an agent and really plugging into resources. I was just like a lone cowgirl warrior, I guess. And oh my gosh, if I had just plugged in, I would have learned and grown so much faster. But there's a reason for everything because of my struggles. Now I get to share those with you guys. And really, I feel like people learn more from the mistakes that I have made than from the successes that I have had, because it is through those mistakes that we learn how to succeed. There's no such thing as failure in business. It is a lesson learned. Period. End of story. So if the word failure makes you cringe, don't let it. It's a lesson. Like, it's a rite of passage in business. So welcome to the show. Super excited. Today we will be talking about, we covered 2 weeks ago, the 6 things that we need to do to get ready for 2024. Folks, if you are not preparing for 2024 right now, it will not be what you want it to be. And I'm not telling you that to shame you. I'm not telling you that to make you feel a heaviness. We come here to learn how to win. And if you are not sowing seeds for 2024 now and figuring out what you're going to do different for 2024, guys, what kind of market are we in? We are in a market that is full of doubt and questions. And there's actually more of a need for us now than there was in the easy years of 2020 and 2021 and early 2022. It's more need for us now. It's more need for expertise out there than ever before, I think, especially with all the things going on in the world and the cost of living is so high. Like, we can be such an amazing resource for our clients. So what are you going to do differently? We cannot do the same thing. Doing the same thing was the definition of insanity. Doing the same thing and expecting different results, like, no. It is time for all of us to change and to make decisions. And let me tell you something. I'm getting sidetracked, but this is worth mentioning. Do you know the difference between making a decision and choosing something? Choosing something actually means that you're just assessing options. You're like, I'll go with that one. A decision, if you actually look at the root word decide, means to cut off. It means there are no other options and you are deciding to take action on a thing. So we have to decide that we will be successful. And then we have to make decisions, not choices. A decision is a locked in thing. It's not going to waver. We have to decide what we will change and pursue with consistency for 2024. We will see ourselves in a new path next year. So that's what I'm here for. If you have any thoughts on our topic today, which is getting lean in 2024, what does that mean? Let me tell you a story. When I was younger in business, I was doing really, really, really well in Texas. The house prices, probably the average price of a home at the time was like $250 to $280, which is, for some of you guys on like the West Coast, East Coast, you're like, oh my gosh, that's crazy. It's like $1 million over here. So I was making a lot of money. I was making over $500,000 a year and playing in very medium price points. So I was doing a ton of transactions in my 20s. And I made the mistake of over hiring right before a market shift. I didn't know the power of playing lean. And because of that, I paid the price for that when the market shifted. And honestly, I still made as much money, but I didn't do my calculations right, all the things, and I did things wrong. I wasn't playing lean. I wasn't assessing the value of my time, which we're going to go through here. I wasn't assessing the value that others brought to the business correctly. I had a really big, generous heart. I was overpaying people, all the things. And then I was not assessing the tools in my business correctly. Were they really worth what I was paying? So we're going to go through all of that today and help you guys decide and really look at your business, like input, output, assessing your time. And this may not be like the fun go get them stuff that I usually do on this, but it is absolutely necessary. Real estate is not fun. Nothing about it is fun if you're overspending or doing things that are requiring tons and tons and tons of your time, and you should be giving that to somebody else. Like, we have to run lean. We have to do these assessments. We have to do the nuts and bolts stuff sometimes, even though it's not fun. I know, but this will be fun if you want to be profitable in 2024. The 6 things that we talked about 2 weeks ago were get creative and get lean. We're on number 2, going deep on number 2. The other ones were get focused, niche, and get the heck online with freaking video, which is gonna be my favorite week because that is the fun stuff. And then we have to implement all of this into a plan. So get lean. We have to first evaluate ourselves when we go to evaluate getting lean. Guys, that same year that I was making over $500,000, I was doing activities that literally required me to still work 80 to 90 hours a week as a brand new mom. And yeah, I was making good money, but I had no life. And I told you I made the wrong hires and all the things, but I'm going to look at it as kind of like a formula. My time at that point was worth a decent amount of money per hour. And I was still doing stuff that I should not have been doing. So I want you guys to go to this website. It's basically how to evaluate how much your time is worth. You need to essentially take your annual income, not what you want to make, what you have made, and divide it by 1,903 hours, which is like a 40-hour work week with a few weeks off for Christmas and all those things. And that is the actual value of the time that you work. If you need help, come find me. Math is my thing, so we're all good with it. I can help you do this calculation. So to calculate the value of your time, take your annual income, divide it by 1,903, so 1,903, and get the value of your time. The higher that number is, the more you should start to consider leveraging out your time to others. Decide how much money per hour you need to be making. This also depends on your output, though, that you need to essentially say, okay, I'm making this amount of per hour. I should definitely hire somebody out to respond to things in my KV core, get in my KV core and respond to messages, or set up searches in my KV core, or whatever tool it is that you're using for CRM. Or I need someone to help me with transaction coordination, or I need someone to help me with outbound phone calls. I need someone to be my admin, whatever position that is. Okay. And transaction coordination, just hint, hint, is probably the first one that you should do. There's a lot of people out there who are really good, who work on a per deal basis. So you might as well do that first, because you're not having to put somebody on a salary to do something like that. How much money you need to be making per hour needs to be pretty solid before you start to hire those things out, but get those things in place before you're making a ton of money, because it's really hard to find time to train people if you're already working 80 to 90 hours a week and you feel like your business is runaway train, can't be stopped. So get that value on your time. And from there, you can start to break down what it is you need to start implementing in your business that is leverage. Here's what I also want you to do. I want you to start to look at where you're at in your business. What activities, particularly with lead generation, are you doing at this time? And I want you to say, this is costing me a lot of money, or this is costing me a lot of time. Now, I don't even know what the name is, and I need to probably coin some term with it, but there is this weird kind of clashing frictional time that you all get into in your business. And if you haven't already, you will get there, where you cross this bridge, but in between point A and point B. Point A is, I need to do a lot of time intensive activity to keep my business moving. You need to do phone calls, you need to do networking, you need to be shooting videos online. Those are pretty time intensive when you add them all up together. And for 3, 6, 12 months, you're doing absolutely nothing but sowing seeds sometimes. Now, some of you will have closings, but real estate is not a game of hunting. It is a game of farming. You sow seeds and you have to keep tending to those plants to make them grow. That is real estate. So that's a time intensive business. You're A. In between A and B is a journey, but B is one of those things where, like, okay, now you have money. What happens between point A and point B is a lot of friction and a lot of learning and a lot of growth and struggle, because you're like, oh my gosh, I am so busy. I'm about ready to just explode. That's a good thing. But before you get to B and you're making, $500,000 or whatever that goal is for you, 200,000 or 300 or 500 or $1 million. Some of you might be in areas with way higher price points. You need to start getting things in place between A and B, because by the time you're at B and you're still doing all these super heavy time intensive activities and still making a lot of money, you need to start making hires. Because I can attest to you, does this make sense? I hope this makes sense. A, is probably newer, not a ton of money at your fingertips yet, really time intensive activities. What I see all the time happen is what I did. I'm at point B in my business. I have a lot of money, but I have not made hires. I have not put leverage into my business, and I haven't gotten a control of my money. Like that was me in my 20s, doing well in real estate and failing at everything else in my life because I was miserable. All I had was money and no help. So in between there, you have to start assessing what your time is worth, and also, guys, starting to choose to do activities that are less time intensive. You have a database. Why are you not using a CRM? Like your CRM, even before you hire a transaction coordinator, I would say utilizing a CRM to its fullest and a transaction coordinator are the first two things that you need to implement in your business. And they are not expensive. Oh my word, the weight that you will see lifted off of your shoulders when you are prospecting clients with value in your sleep through your CRM, never missing birthdays or anniversaries or anything like that. Excel spreadsheets have their place, but they will not work for you while you are sleeping. You have to work a spreadsheet and not a CRM. So taking the time in between A and B being having a lot of money in the bank, you need to start getting these things in place. So assess your time, get a value on it before hitting your goal. Start deciding what you want to start putting in place in your business to help you get some of your time back and to run lean. Speaking of running lean, what might you need to cut in 2024? That's a big one. Guys, I see a lot of real estate agents focusing, actually, it's not focusing. It's spraying bullets, will you, at different things, trying all the things, right? Now, you need to try and figure out what your strengths are. Some of you might be killer networkers. Some of you might be great at video. Some of you, and this is all lead gen oriented, but I feel like without leads, we don't have anything. So I think it's a great example of this, guys. But what are you doing that you might need to cut? Who are you paying that you might need to cut? And when I say that, I say it with my eyes closed because I've been through that journey too. And it was like so hard to let people go. I hated it. It just made me want to crawl under a rock and die. But it has to happen sometimes. Who are you giving access to in your life and business that might not be moving it forward? We need to get lean. So a great way to assess that, particularly when it comes to your business, is get that number of what your time is worth. If you can pay someone less to do that thing for you, they're probably still in position as long as they're doing it well. And as long as they are not, weighing the business down, your business has to stay profitable. So make sure that you are assessing those things. Make sure that you're assessing others in your business. And it might be time to trim the fat. The last thing that I'll talk about here, we have a couple minutes left, is what tools are you using in your business? I would like to be an example of this. In my business, I've used other things before, and my business is probably not to a point where it's extremely complicated, where I need something else at this point. In the future, I will. But I'm using a tool called Real Scale. Real Scale. It's these little 20-something-year-old guys out in Austin, and I got their software when it was brand new. So I think now it's probably double the price, but I pay $99 a month. And instead of seeing my transactions all spread out in all the other software that's available to us, I literally see projections of commission incoming. I can see who is working transactions. I can originate CDAs. I have never, ever been in Dotloop. And I don't care what software it is. I don't care if it's Dotloop or Transaction Desk. I have someone who does that for me. I get into Real Scale. I can see projections from all the years that I've used it. I can see our GCI, our gross commission income. I can break down everything into which title company we're working with. I can find clients in there, splits, expenses, all the things. I can see it in there, and it's in one row. And I love that because I know how many transactions the whole team has coming in right now. I know which are mine. I know which originated from someone else. Everything. I can track it in there, and it's one visual when I log in, and I can run all sorts of reports. And I love it. It has helped me so much stay organized. And because of that, I literally send all my documents to my transaction coordinator, who's also kind of an assistant. She's our executive assistant is what she is. And she will put all of it into Real Scale. And then I just log into Real Scale It is so easy to use. I didn't take a single class. I originate CDAs in there and she will transfer it all over to Dotloop for us, which is just like glorious, right? She's very techie and all the things. And so I don't have to learn that stuff ever. Every change we have, she tackles the change and learns the software in the back end. And I use one thing all the time. So that's something to do. That is a tool that helps me run lean. What tools might you have in your business that are costing you money that are not worth it? Your CRM is always worth it. I will argue that to my grave, but you might be investing into some lead gen tools that are not paying you back yet. It's time to assess those things. It's time to trim the fat. So to summarize everything we have gone over today, we need to get lean. If you are profitable and you have incoming commissions, get the value of your time. Know your value. Know that when you need to get someone else in place, it can be licensed or unlicensed activities. You know what to do. You got to stay compliant. You need to put people in your place, right? If you can pay them less, significantly less to do that task for you, things like uploading paperwork into Dotloop and transaction coordination, all the things. Oh my gosh, like get those off your plate. Get a CRM in place. Get leverage in place. Others in technology, time to get those in place, and last but not least, assess your tools. What we need to do is hire people, technologies, and tools out that help us stay lean, and we need to cut the fat for people that maybe are not bringing value to the business, or tools that are not bringing value to the business. If you're interested in working with me and my entire team, it's not just me, it's my entire team, it's my video team. And thank you all so much for coming today. Have a great day, everybody. It is critical that we look at this going into 2024 because you don't own a job. We want you to own a business. That's my goal here. You have to think differently. You can't think like your W-2 employee. Not anymore. Those days are gone. All right. So thanks for coming. I will talk to you soon. Bye.